Video 5 for Snowflake on wood. We have now placed the center nail, which I whited out on this piece of paper, all the outside vertices, so we'll call those points for our star, and, oh, it's a snowflake, points for a snowflake, and the inside vertices for our star. So we've got these out here. That was the step before last, and we just put these in. This was the step we just did. Okay, and I went all the way around, put all of those in. I nailed some of them off screen. So now I have all these nails in. And my next journey is to locate where I need to place these little dots. Okay, so we've got to place the dots along here and then the dots along there. And if you look at this pattern without all the drawing on it, it's going to be these dots here and these dots here. Okay, in order to do that, we're going to have to do some math. And the first thing that we're going to do is measure this distance from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, all the way around. We're going to measure them all, because unless you've been super, super accurate, they're going to be different. Mine certainly are. So I'm going to measure from here to here. That is 11 centimeters. Be sure to measure in centimeters. Makes your arithmetic easier because it's decimal based. So be sure you're starting at 0 on your ruler, and measure to the next nail is 11 centimeters here. You're going to write these down as you go. From this nail to the next nail is 11.1, it looks like. And I'm going to continue measuring all the way around from an inner vertex to an outer vertex or a point. And then I'm going to measure from that outer vertex or the point to the next inner vertex. And I'm going to do that all the way around. I should end up with 12 measurements. Again, I'm measuring from a point to the inner vertex, then to the next point, and then to the next inner vertex. And I'm getting all those measurements individually. So I'm going to write down 12 measurements, and I'm going to do it in centimeters. Ta-da! I did that already. I am going to add all of those up. Feel free to use your calculator. And then I'm going to divide by 12. That's a division mark. It looks like a minus on my screen, but it's a division mark. I'm going to divide by 12 to find the average. Then I went ahead and rounded it to the nearest tenth, because all of my measurements were to the nearest tenth, and so 10.85 is not significant digits. If you've talked about those in chemistry, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I rounded it back to 10.9, and then I'm going to divide that by 5 because I want 5 sections in each little part. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. So I divided that by 5 to see how big each one of my sections should be. And again, I rounded to the nearest tenth because that's what my ruler measures. That's the best significant digit I can have, because I measured everything to the nearest tenth everywhere else. So that gives me 2.2 centimeters. Now, when we go outside, the way you're going to measure that is you're going to take the rope that you have outside, and you're going to make those same measurements, okay? And then you're going to take your rope, and you're just going to mark it off that way, okay? So you're going to take your rope and measure well, it won't be outside, it won't be 2.2 centimeters, and it may not be 2.2 centimeters for you in here, but I'm going to start at the outside edge, and I'm going to go 2.2 centimeters each time, and I'm going to make marks on my string at each one of those 2.2 centimeters. I'm going to go ahead and do that right here for you. So I'm going to take my paper that I've been using. I'm going to tape the end of my string down. I'm using the same string that I used at the very beginning for taking the whole radius or the whole diameter of the circle. I'm going to tape down one end on my paper because that's like sticking it in the on the nail, okay? And I'm going to put my ruler next to it. And starting at 0, I'm going to make marks every 2.2 centimeters. Now I'm going to go ahead and tape my other end of my string down on my paper so it's not moving all over the place. It's going to make it easier for me to keep up with what I'm doing. And it's going to take up a little bit of string when I wrap it around the nail, so I am not going right to the very end. And I'm going to make marks every 2.2 centimeters. And I'm going to try not to make a ginormous mark. I don't want it to be a big one. I want it to be kind of a smaller one so I can be sure I'm putting my marks in the right spot. So I'm going to make a mark there. And 2.2 plus 2.2 is 4.4. So I'm going to make a mark there. And then 2.2 times 3 is 6.6. Make a mark there. And 2.2 times 4 is 8.8. And I'm going to make a mark there. And then my next one would be 2.2 times 5, which is going to be 10.4. So I'm going to make a mark there. I'm not going to use that mark very much, ever, actually, so I probably shouldn't have made it. That should be the next nail. Okay? It's not always going to be the next nail because we averaged, right? So that mark I'm not actually going to use. That should be the next nail.